So hello, Lucas.
Hola.
So I actually am interviewing someone with the same name. It's quite rare, even though I think there are a lot of people called Lucas, so it's not not that rare.
But we are the Tango Lucas in Amsterdam.
Yes.
The meeting of the Lucas.
Yes. So well, I'm happy to have you on my show. I've been looking forward. I think you have an interesting story to tell. Yeah, I would like you simply to start for those who don't know you. Who are you? Maybe that's a good introduction just to start.
All right. I'm Lucas Malec. I was born in Argentina, in Buenos Aires, and I studied music over there. And at some point of my life, I decided to continue my studies in Holland, and I went to live in Amsterdam. I got the opportunity to study at the Conservatory of Amsterdam, which is a great school. I was playing jazz music at the time. I'm a saxophone player, and I was improvising. I was into the improvising aspect of jazz music, and also I was doing some composition. Eventually, I started. I did a master's here in Holland in composition, and specifically composition for film music. So that's my musical background. And as I was studying here, I gathered a group of musicians and I started playing tango music. Originally, we were playing more Piazzolla style, and eventually we had the opportunity to play for dancers. So we started to play more danceable music, and we won a contest, the Doble Ocho competition with this group in Nijmegen. And after that, we won the first prize, and the first prize was that we got to play for all the dancers in the big festival in the Milonga. And I felt back in the day that our music was not so suitable for dancers. I was a bit I had this feeling in the back of my head, although people of course managed to dance and we were playing tango music, tango songs. I felt that there was something else necessary to play to make the music more danceable, and I wanted to know what it was. So I said, okay, what if I go into dancing? This was about 9 years ago or something like that. Before that, I had taken a few tango lessons in Buenos Aires, like with my girlfriend, but very informally. But the moment I decided to do that, tango took over my life. And at the time, I started tango as a hobby, but it became, with time, music became my hobby and tango became my main activity. So nowadays I'm doing full-time tango. I'm a teacher in Amsterdam, and also I work in Liège, Lauk, and in Brussels. So these are my main cities where I'm working now, and I still like to go back to Buenos Aires every year for a few months to stay updated with the latest news and how tango is evolving, and also try to always connect my tango to its roots, right?
Yes.
So well, that's it. That's who I am. I'm a musician who became a tango dancer and teacher.
Yes, I think it's a super interesting story, especially because I feel like there are a lot of musicians who have no idea about what tango dancing really is, or what original tango dance music was, or like they're more interested in stuff like Piazzolla and more like musician music than a lot of the dancers.
Tango in that way is a bit like jazz. It's a music that started as danceable music, no? Before jazz was like swing music, big bands, and people were swinging to that. But at some point, it divorced the music and the dance, and the jazz musicians, they had this urge to go beyond in their music and become more complex and more adventurous. And you can hear the bebop jazz and then everything that came after. It's just that you would sit and listen, but you would not dance. It's a bit like what happened with tango after the 50s, no? The musicians, Troilo, all these great musicians, they needed to do more than music within the boundaries of the rhythm and the steady beat. So yeah, they started experimenting and they did amazing stuff that any musician will love and people who love to listen to that, but it's not meant for dancing. So we should learn this distinction.
Yes, yes.
It only
So
makes it easier, you know. Of course, a good dancer, a professional dancer, or somebody who's very agile can probably dance to any kind of music. But when we think that tango is meant for amateur dancers, it should make it easier for them and not make their life more difficult.
yes, yes, yes. That's actually quite interesting that I knew you went to the conservatory. I knew you were a musician, and I knew you were a dancer as well, obviously. But I didn't know anything about the way it actually the way you actually tell how it went is kind of surprising. Like that you didn't necessarily have anything to do with tango. So it's maybe like this was just a general question of introduction, but maybe we should just start with can you tell us a bit more about like this development as a music student? Like
This
why did
transition.
you? Yeah, and like but also in the beginning, like why did you even study music? How did that start? And of course the question beyond that is like, had you ever even heard of tango or things like that? That's in Buenos
Right.
Aires. It's a bit more probable, but even as an Argentinian young person, I mean, it's not very likely, even in Argentina, that young people
Yeah, not
are.
necessarily everybody dance. No,
No, no,
my
no.
parents used to dance. My father and my mother, they dance a bit, but completely only like socially. They only dance with each other for fun. And I used to listen a lot of tango when I was a child in the radio, and I actually didn't like it.
Okay.
I remember complaining a lot in the car going to school that my parents will listen to this old music with bad quality recording, and I said, why don't we put something nice, no? This is the memory I have of tango. This music with weird sound that I didn't like, and
And that's
it's
quite
ironic.
typical, right? That's quite typical for your
It
generation. For yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we were more raised with the influence of from the US, from British rock, no.
Yeah.
So this is what I like. This is what I used to listen in high school, more that the Beatles, all this stuff. But yeah, I mean, you still know who Troilo is when you're growing up. Everybody knows who's Darien. So I mean, it's just part of the general culture, you know. I wouldn't say it's folklore because it's music from the city, but it's definitely part of the general culture, yeah, in Argentina, in Buenos Aires at least, and
Yeah.
also in all the cities around the river, right, the Rio de la Plata,
Yes.
Rosario, Montevideo in Uruguay. All these cities have a strong connection with tango. So yeah, and then tango, I think it really became something in my life when I was away from Buenos Aires. I remember I brought few records from there, and one of them was a record of Pugliese. And I used to put this record in my kitchen while I was doing the dishes, you know, when I was a student. And this really connected me back to it. It really connected me to Buenos Aires. You know, you can become quite nostalgic when you are living far away. You are away from your friends, your family, and when you start missing, you are actually start appreciating the things that transport you there, right? Like the smells, and the music of course can do that, and Pugliese can definitely do that. I was listening to the instrumental recordings of Pugliese of 40s, and yeah, that's really something that brought me to the city of Buenos Aires. So I think also tango pushed me a bit, or I became quite needy of tango because I was getting this emptiness inside filled with it. No, like happens to many of us. There's always an emptiness inside, and tango can fill that space.
Yes.
And that's what I think many of us we found in tango for different reasons.
Yes. Yes. So I think we'll be able to discuss that later as well. But first, like what I wanted to know, like in general. So how did you become a music student? Like how before tango, before
Ah, yeah,
you
that's what
really
you.
yeah.
Well, me personally, I always had very different interests in my life. I was always curious about arts in general, but also more I like abstract thinking, so it was difficult for me to choose where to go. I like mathematics a bit, I like a bit of drawing, I like a bit of literature. So, but actually I felt that music was always my weak spot. I didn't feel a good musician, I couldn't sing. So I felt, how can I felt like I was a bit good at many things, and I was kind of bothered by the fact that I could not be good at music, right? And I end up like making a 20 years studies just to understand how music works, and to make it part of myself. And it was, I think, very interesting experience. But I have to say, it was not really like a like a let's say from the productive point of view, you choose your strong point and you develop that, right? I did the opposite. I wanted to kind of find a balance in myself and work on the weakest point.
That's excellent, actually. That's a really good thing to do.
Yeah, I tried. It was my approach. So to have more all-round kind of skills, so to speak. And I'm very happy with that, because I think nowadays in my dance, which is something that for me came more naturally, actually, I would say music is my strong point. With music, I struggled a lot during my career because I learned discipline like that. With studying music, I never felt I had the facility that other people had. So I had to work quite hard to finish my studies and get where I had to get. And that teach me the discipline that now I use for my dancing. I felt like when I started dancing tango, it came naturally in the beginning, like it should happen to many of us. Of course, we always struggle, but it felt easy. But I still applied the discipline that I had learned from music. So that's what, that's I think what helped me with tango, my music background.
Okay. Oh, that's very interesting. So you were not necessarily a child prodigy.
No, not at all. With music, no.
But you didn't study music
it was very sad to listen to me sing. I studied music, or I studied when I was quite young, actually. I mean, around 10 years old, something like that. I mean, for music, it's not so early, but I remember being a child when I expressed my curiosity with music. I started on the piano, and a few years later, I switched to the saxophone. And I was always very interested in the theory subjects like composition, harmony, contrapunct. All these things are very interesting, and that's why I end up studying composing. But this approach of mixing different, let's say, fields of art, it's also what brought me into studying music for films, because I thought, okay, if I can work with some film directors, help to tell the story, that's gonna fulfill me more, because at some point I realized that just playing music was not fulfilling me. I got to the point where I was playing in the stage. I got up in the stage where I dreamed one day I would be, and it was not fulfilling me because it was not me, really. I was not yet in complete knowledge of what I want and where I should go. So it was a quite dark period, because it was very frustrating to discover that I spent so many years studying something, and once you get there, you're not satisfied. Then, of course, you have to start to doing some introspection in that moment. Start to thinking more who you are, what worked from inside out. So that's what I did. And at that time, it was around the end of my master studies. I started more and more with tango, and actually I was almost jeopardizing my studies. I almost didn't finish the studies because I just wanted to go to the milonga. So it started like a distraction, in fact, no? like tango can be, like a distraction from responsibilities and all this stuff.
You mean distraction or
distraction? Yeah.
Okay.
Like something that, I mean, many of us, we should be preparing some work or something, but we say maybe tonight I go to the milonga, these kind of things.
Yeah, it's addictive.
Yeah, it's addictive. Yeah. And it's like an easy shot of happiness.
Yeah. Well, that's very interesting.
But yeah, I think at that point I saw the opportunity to say, okay, I will try to do this as much as possible. I traveled to Buenos Aires, and also I had the advantage that I was like one of the few Argentine people. It's ridiculous, but I mean, of course, it happens. People have expectations on you, and even I would say, they give you an authority that you don't deserve, because just for being Argentine, like they were, oh, he knows what to do, and I was doing whatever. I was just, but I was just like a beginner trying to figure it out. But I still had a certain confidence that people gave me, like, oh, yeah, this is how you do it, because I saw it, I saw how people were doing it. I mean, I grew up looking at it aesthetically, but of course, nothing. You never know nothing about tango. You're always just discovering the tip of the iceberg.
Yes.
But yeah, that confidence, and it helped me also to grow. Anything you are learning, if you do it with confidence, you really learn it faster, for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's you have a fascinating story, especially because
I don't know.
Well, especially because in some ways it's different than what I expected. It's I think it's been it's kind of difficult to judge about other people, but it seems like it was a harder journey than I was expecting it for you to be.
Yeah, it was not a straight line for me. I mean, I feel now that I ended up where I needed to be, but I definitely didn't travel in a straight line.
Yeah, but sometimes that can be more enriching than when everything is just straightforward for you.
Yeah, it makes you stronger. It makes you stronger to continue in the difficult moments, because even when you are in the right place, there's difficult moments. But when you've been through like deep personal crisis like that, you know that you can take it, and then you will be in the other side still. Yeah, I mean, anybody can go through that, and you discover what you have in you.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's not easy to discover something like you can call your call, or your vocation.
Yeah, your calling.
Your calling.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like a luxury to be working of something that is your passion. No, I mean, normally you have your job, you have your hobby, and yeah, I was lucky enough to be able to combine them. My passion is my job, so that's already, even if I'm never going to be rich, I'm already in a good place. Nothing can take that away from me.
Yes. Oh, that's very interesting. I would like to know a bit more about this, where you were saying that during a moment of crisis, you were started and you're probably lonely a bit as well in Amsterdam. I mean, it's a totally different society and you're far away from everything. You might actually might be worse because you don't know exactly what you want and where to go. Can you tell me a bit more about like that moment when you started listening to tango and it suddenly became a whole different thing for you? Like it actually became the sense of home, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's exactly what you're saying. I mean, I remember this period where I was away from family and friends from Argentina, and I was doing it. So I mean, I was supposed to be doing it to achieve a greater goal, or suppose what's supposed to be your dream. And as I saw myself achieving it, I thought, why am I doing all this? So that was kind of like this existential crisis moment, and also like who I am. How can I be so ignorant of myself to arrive to this point, and realize that you don't want to be a musician. Like I felt it's a bit pathetic. Like so I had no direction in that moment. It was that was the moment I was in the mud. And I think it was just by chance. In one of the concerts that we did, we invited the dancers to come and to dance to our music at the conservatory. And just by chance, Sherpun was there with Flavia.
Okay, can you tell us who? Sorry, not everyone knows.
Sherpun Castro. It was my first maestro. He comes from Chile, and he's a great he dances style of tango salon with a big milonguero influence. So he has a great comfortable embrace, and yet he looks for the elegance. And this is something that marked my path. I always want to achieve that, to find my elegance, my style, but with the priority is always the quality of the embrace. And this is something that I was lucky just to fall in his hands, so to speak, because if when you start dancing tango, you don't know who you're going to get as a teacher. Your first teachers sometimes is you have to clean a lot of what you learn in the first years, and it's a personal path, no, to find your tango style, and you have to meet different teachers. But I can say I'm happy that I had already good luck from my first teacher. So he really trained me good, and he shared with me the meaning of tango as a culture, as we should, as teachers do, the meaning of tango not only as a dance performance, but as a night out with friends.
Social.
It should be, yeah, social tango.
So it was a Chilean who told someone from Argentina.
Argentine guy had to go to Amsterdam to learn from a Chilean guy tango.
Well, it's actually not so surprising, considering like what I said before, is that, well, even you're saying like everyone maybe kind of knows who D'Arienzo is, but I still believe that a lot of young people in Argentina, or even a lot of somewhat older people, like they don't really know what this social dancing thing is. So no, even in Argentina. So that's,
it's. I mean, I think they know what it is, but many of them have never even tried it, and it's like the clock dance in Holland. You know, everybody knows what it is, but most people have not do it. You know. But yeah, I think if you say Troilo, you can say it to anybody, and they know who he is. You know, and also, I mean, we have streets with his name, and this is part of the. But it's true that maybe they know who they are, but if they wouldn't recognize the song of him, that's for sure.
So you were saying, yeah. Well, you were talking about Jerpun doing this concept.
So
dance. I mean, you were doing the concept.
Yeah, so that's how it started. You know, he came with Flavia Morari, also an amazing dancer. I'm working with her now, actually.
Okay.
But back in the day, she was teaching with Jerpun, and I spoke with him. I really like the energy, the enthusiasm of the guy, and he told me, tomorrow come, there's a lesson, and I studied with him. That was the 4th of October, I remember.
Which year?
That's my tango birthday. 4th of October, 9 years ago. So
okay, 9 years ago. Okay.
Make the maths. Yeah.
Yes.
And it's my tango birthday, so I still celebrate it. I started there, and I think I hadn't skipped one day since then.
Wow.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
But that's how I made this transition and from music to the dance. But I mean, it is my path. But I think it's very, what's most interesting in tango is to bring that personal path in your dance. No, like everybody has a different, unique story, and that's the way it should be. You know, that we should not try to have like this standard ways to reach the end. No, the richness of it is that everybody arrives there, but through their own way and from a different starting point.
Yeah, you were talking about this void, like people.
Yeah, that's what we all have in common, I think.
Yes.
Except people who start very young with ambitions to be like dancers from an artistic point of view. But most social dancers, we find in tango what we maybe didn't have at home or something like this. You know, like there's a lot of people looking for a father figure in tango. There's a lot of people looking for social life in tango. A lot of people looking for a relationship. So tango provides all these kind of things.
Yes.
So that's great, and it also gives you the possibility to decide yourself what tango is for you. You know, it's nothing predefined.
Yeah, it just seems like a dance, but it's actually much more.
It's much more, yeah, and that's what it's getting a bit lost, is that it start to be teach like a dance, especially now in the YouTube era. People know what tango is because they saw a video on YouTube, you know, of a performance. Even if it's a performance in the milonga of Tango Salon, that doesn't reflect what tango is, you know, at all. I mean, in my perspective from a social point of view, right? Social tango.
Yes. And I would assume that you are there to teach it.
Yeah, that's what the only thing I can teach, because that's what I love, and what I can do best. You know, I don't think it's. I mean, I always try to be as elegant as possible, but not with the goal of making an impression in people watching. It's just a personal search for comfort and stability in my dance.
Yeah, that's what you're probably.
That's my search. What I try to teach my students.
Yeah. So that's what you're the message you.
Yeah, for sure. In a technique lesson, I will focus more in doing the movement in a comfortable way, in a healthy way, in an aligned way, for finding balance and connection with your partner. But I know that, I mean, it's also some people, they work more in the aesthetic aspect of it, and that's great, because thanks to people working very deep on that, we can watch a tango performance and we are impressed and emotion by the performance. I don't think, if you are not so much into the tango world yet, you will not be so moved by watching a milonguero dance. I mean, it takes some time to really look at the nuances of what's going on there to really be moved by that. But anybody can be moved by someone who has been working in making a movement perfect and beautiful, and with awareness of the space and the lines, and that's great. I mean, that people do that because that also attracts people in tango.
Yes. But I guess it's good that you search a certain direction to work with, that you have this philosophy.
Yeah, I think I have to be clear, and I have to be clear with my students too, because the students, they should know what they want from tango, and that's the most difficult thing when you start, because you, like we said before, you just get one teacher and you get what you get. Maybe you have somebody in your town who is teaching, and you're lucky to be able to start anyways. But sometimes people, they know that they want to learn how to perform, even as an amateur. As an amateur dancer can have the wish to learn tango escenario or tango salon, but from a perspective point of view, to make the movement as beautiful as possible, and with the priority not so much in being able to connect with somebody that you don't know, for example. So if you have this wish, then you have to find the right teacher for that, to work in the aesthetic of tango before you work, let's say, in the connection and the adaptability. Yes. Of course, eventually you need to work in anything. But most people, they want to dance socially, they want to have a night out, they want to meet people, and maybe they start learning too much things that's maybe it's not that it's not important, it's just not the priority when you want to be a social dancer in the beginning. So it's a matter of, we have the day is only 24 hours and we probably have other things to do. So it's very important to have the right priorities in tango for what you want to get.
Yes.
And then after 20 years, you will have everything. You will have the elegance and the calmness, the connection. You will have the skill to express yourself through tango, which is what we want to get.
Yes.
To express yourself, to enjoy together, to connect, to meet people, to help the other one enjoy tango and discover the music. And that's what we are all in tango. But how you start the path, I think it can sometimes save you time, or sometimes it can make you, yeah. But any like it happened to me, I didn't save time. I arrived the long way, but I think that also enriched me quite my dance today.
What do you mean you arrived the wrong way?
I mean, I arrived in tango. Like we said before, I didn't decide when I was 15 years old that I was going to be a dancer.
I mean, like that.
Training.
Okay.
Yeah. I stumbled upon it, and eventually, I started the practica here in Amsterdam, because I wanted myself to practice more. I had this urge to practice. I was obsessed with practice. This discipline I had from the music, I was applying in my dance, and I just couldn't stop practicing. And the day that there was no practica, I opened one. I found a studio where, again, because of the music, there was a place where we did a concert. And over there, I started a practica, because it was a very nice floor, a red floor. You were there.
Yeah, yes.
We call it Tinta Roja. And I eventually became a milonga. You DJ a couple of times over there. And
well, we even DJed together there.
Yeah, we did the duo, I think for Halloween, right?
Yeah.
It was the Halloween night with the custom party. And well, in this place, I started like a practica, but of course I was the reference. I had some advantage over the people who were there, so they started asking for advice. Eventually became a guided practica. Eventually I started with the lessons, and it went like this. I mean, without a plan, it just started to happen. Yes. And I totally let it happen because I was loving it, and I allow me to spend more time in tango that otherwise I would be neglecting what I should be doing. So in this way, I'm not neglecting anything, because
It's a
is what I
profession.
want to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's great. I mean, I still, if I was a musician, I would be really irresponsible because I will be dancing tango the whole time. So
Okay. So before we continue about the teaching part, maybe to conclude the part of being a musician. So I have the idea that you were playing music for dancers, whereas
yeah.
I feel like it's very rare to have tango musician nowadays who really know what that is, especially because they don't really seem to be dancers much. But I've actually heard from people that your what is it, your quint, no, not a quintet, but your quartet
Quartet.
of,
Yeah.
yeah, that you were, they like celebrated you for playing dance music.
Oh wow,
uh,
that's great to hear.
yeah. So, but even you're not. I don't think you're involved as much in it now. But can you maybe say something about that, about the past, about the history of that, like how
Well, yeah, I mean, we eventually did that work, you know, of bringing the danceable aspect of the music that I discovered what was important in the music. I mean, I didn't discover it. The knowledge was there, but I didn't have it, no. I think there's many musicians who know how to play for danceable, and there's musicians who specialize in that. But
okay,
at the time, we were not one of them. So we brought all these ideas of the compass and the to separate the different chapters of the musical phrases into clear um, contrasting sections and these kind of things that it brings to the dancer some excitement, no, and some clarity in the beat. And the biggest challenge is that we were four saxophone players. I mean, this saxophone is an alien instrument in tango. It's not so many of them. I think you can find one solo in a Vals of Lomuto or something like that. But yeah, it's not an instrument that belongs in traditional tango. So our challenge was to imitate the sound of the orchestras and the bandoneon, especially because it's a wind instrument, and we try to find some effects with the instrument to reproduce this sonority, and of course, eventually find our own personality. But that was inevitable because four saxophones that are going to stand out anyway.
yes,
And we started touring in milongas, and then recorded eventually an album called Danzarin.
okay,
Uh, and this is our first album. We had before that recorded a demo with fewer songs with Piazzolla and stuff, but Danzarin is our first album, and that went very well. Was very well received with dancers, and I have to say now we are still busy with that. We're still playing. It's just that the guys in the quartet know that my passion is somewhere else, but they really kick my ass,
okay,
so to speak, because they are amazing musicians. I mean, I'm playing. I'm very lucky to be playing with these guys. They're all super talented, top level players, really. But so they force me to at least stay a bit sharp, you know, to try to level up.
but as
And
a hobby now, right?
yeah, that's, I mean, for me, I thought it's really a hobby, so I shouldn't be saying this because they will maybe listen to it, but I don't practice, you know, in between in between rehearsals and concerts. Last time I played was when we had a concert. So that's of course not what they do at all. These guys are like I am with music. They are playing every day, and when they don't have to work, they're practicing. So yeah, they are super top level. I mean, one of them is a teacher of the Conservatory of Amsterdam. He plays with the Concertgebouw. You know, it's really at this level. I really feel like I cannot say I'm one of them, but I'm one of them in the sense that in the team you need people to do different things. You know, and I know what I can bring. I bring my knowledge of tango music as a style. So
Mm.
they will know more about music and more about their instruments, but I'm the one more immersed in tango, so I can explain what we need to do, which kind of effects we need to create, and I write arrangements. I used to write before when I had more time, and of course I give them all the difficult parts. You know, I just put myself the easy things. So
Yes,
like that it works, and we're still playing. Now we had a new series of concerts it was during COVID times, during the pandemic, trying to restart the activity for organizers in these difficult times. So we organized a series of concerts with also a show from Ezequiel Paludi and Geraldine Rojas.
Mm.
So we were touring the Netherlands last year, playing concert show with them and organizing a milonga for the people. Even we were counting on the support of culture funds for that from Prince Bernhard, and that helped. That even when organizers couldn't make much money, they could still afford to give a great evening for the few people who could gather at once.
Yes, yes, but
So
it's
that was good. Yeah.
it's not your it's just not your main activity. I think that's the point.
Yeah, I think it's. I mean, if I have my compass very clear now, and it's not pointing in that direction. It's just I just want to continue exploring tango. I love to teach people tango, and so I'm lucky that they allow me to still be part of that. But definitely, it's something that is behind me. The music. I feel like now who I am is more, let's say, a tango teacher, if anything.
Do you have any idea, like, do you know if there's maybe a reason why you did this became your like why this crystallized as some kind of I think you just used the word I don't remember what you said, but it's like a destiny or destination, or like that the
Yeah.
dancing is more your thing. Like is there
No, I'm really surprised. When I was a child, I wouldn't expect that was going to be who I am, really.
okay.
So it's just something that fits me, and I think the circumstances help. I was one of the few Argentine guys in the tango community, so that made me have a lot of good connection with the maestros that were visiting. And in my trips to Argentina, every year I spent 3 months in Argentina, especially I'm with tango, and I want always to find, I have my one of my biggest maestros there is Andres Laza Moreno, and I met Paula Tachetti, Hernan Alvarez Preto, all guys who are really connected to the roots of tango from a social point of view and not from a performing point of
Mm.
view, although they are amazing performers. But like this, I was hosting them in my house, for example. Like I became friendly with them, and if they are traveling around, Martin Ojeda, many guys stay in my house. I mean, it's really, at some point my house was the tango hotel. I cannot remember everybody. Leo Ortiz. I mean, we can start naming people who were in my house. Even tango orchestras, they were all staying with me. So for me, really, you can imagine how enriching that was, and I think it was more the context who facilitate a lot for me to access the information and to access the sensations. When in a private lesson, you always will have the chance to have not the knowledge that you see, but the sensation. And when people stay with me, of course, we always have the chance to dance a bit together, and yeah, I dance with different teachers who were staying in my house, and or just simply stay until very late talking about music. We drinking something nice, and talking about tandas, or talking about orchestras. And this is really what made me love tango. This social sharing of stories and knowledge, a bit you know like how you say, encyclopedic. Some people really have a lot of knowledge. If you speak with Hernan Alvarez Preto, and he will tell you any detail about the composers, the poets who wrote the lyrics, and all. I mean, and I find it fascinating, and also was connected me to my homeland, and bringing memories of things that I had in my head, and I as a child, and I suddenly came to the surface. So yeah, personally, I think I didn't choose it. It's just the circumstances brought me there. It was very good to be the Argentine guy in Amsterdam, because many people like to go to Amsterdam. It's a great city. So they were always asking me if they could just drop by, even if they were not working.
You mean
So that's
The Argentines who
the Argentine maestros and teachers, people who I admire, and they were just very friendly with me and helped me a lot in my path. I think you need a little help, when to start like this, and people, they see something in you and they want to help you, and they see passion basically. They don't
Yes.
see talent, they see passion, and if you have it, they help you.
So you mean talent is less important, or?
Well, I think it's for them, yes. I think, I mean, what for me, I don't think you will help someone because they will make it. You help someone because
See
you
something
see how much
special,
they want
and
it.
yeah,
You see
yeah,
how
yeah.
much they want it. I mean, no, if they will make it or not, it's really depends on so many things. Uh, I think talent might be one of them, but I mean, talent is only what is talent? I think it's a combination of facility to do something and the discipline to do it.
Yes. Yeah, I was really thinking that you really got this immersion in in something, and that's actually when you're learning languages, for example, that's the best way to learn if you're immersed in the language, and you were like immersed in tango,
Yeah.
just by being like you were like the right guy at the right moment in a way.
Yeah.
And
I feel like that. I mean, it's also how you tell your own story to yourself, no? But I feel lucky in that situation, and also I realized early in my tango that I have to go to Buenos Aires and really experience the milonga there and dance until 6 in the morning until your body is exhausted, and then that's when your body dance alone, and you're not thinking anymore, and there's this beautiful states of mind that you discover in the Argentine milonga, no?
so,
So yeah, and that's also how I create my sort of network, which is also part very important thing in tango, to to because I don't think uh, it's enough to be amazing dancer to to earn respect. I think it's something. It's a tango is a community, and you have to be thankful for what you get from the generations that were before us, and it's developing like a tree, from the roots, and we
yes.
are just one of the branches. So I think in any branch that doesn't respect the trunk and the roots, it doesn't matter how beautiful it is, it's not going to be connected, to the community.
Yes. Yes.
So yeah, I think by going there and with in a humble state, and really realize how much you can learn even from people who are not professional dancers, but they can still inspire you so much. I remember going to Buenos Aires and not dancing the whole night, just sitting there and watch people dance, and not watching exhibitions in the pista. I'm talking about people dancing socially
Yeah.
for hours, and I used to love to do that, just learning how they do, how they wait, how they modify the embrace in a certain moment of the music, how they breathe together, all these little details that it feels like there's always a secret hidden, and that once you go deeper in it,
Yes.
and it's true, the more you know, the more you enjoy tango. So it's really never ending.
Yeah, you were calling yourself lucky, but I think there's also like a big well, you were already talking about your own passion. Like it's a lot of dedication.
Hmm.
But I also see like there's a certain what's the word for that? Like a like you're open to perception. It's I think it's a kind of intelligence that you see these opportunities, and
Hmm.
you also take the grab the opportunities of learning, and well, what you're saying, like someone else could just dance there all night and just do the whole thing,
Right.
the same thing all night, but you were actually like really you're trying to take in all this information, and
Yeah.
that's how you
That's
learn. And I guess that was also true for how you learn music. Well, you said you weren't really necessarily the most talented musician or something, but you really worked hard to achieve things. And I guess that's also true for tango. I mean, I'm not saying anything about. I don't know to what extent you can only say yourself to what extent you feel gifted as a dancer. But even if you aren't gifted as a dancer, you took in all the information that was what presented to you and that you could find, and that's a really great way
yeah.
to learn.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think I have some talent in my dance. and I think it's because I have a nice embrace. That's what I heard. And a
Okay.
good embrace. I think I have a lot of fat in my chest, and it feels nice to embrace me. But yeah, and also I can learn movements quickly. Like I can imitate. As long as I feel the movement, I can do it. So that's something that helps. But I really feel like a beginner all the time. So I think we're constantly switching from the idea that we know a lot, and then the other extreme that we know nothing. And I think it's a good oscillation. But I think about the the learning process and the experience of being there, for me, tango reminds me a bit of the martial art movies, that you have this really old Chinese master with a long beard, and you have this big fighter learning from him. And the most important thing is the respect that he has for him. It's so beautiful to see the respect to the master. And it's not there, he's not looking at him constantly trying to evaluate him. It starts from a respect. I like that it starts from a respect. Of course, respect can be lost um, if somebody doesn't deserve it, but we start from respect. And this is, I think, the essence of tango.
Yes, yes. So actually, one big there's a lot of things I could say about this, but actually, one big topic for today is whether you had any thoughts like about especially being an Argentinian, like comparing Europe, or well, I want to say Netherlands, but it's like Europe tango here over here, and Argentina or Buenos Aires. Like, do you have any thoughts about that?
Right. Okay. This always it's a sensitive topic, I think,
Yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
I mean, nobody can say what tango is. Nobody owns the right to say that. But I can only speak from my experience. So any generalization that I do, it's based on my own experience. No.
Yes.
So I think it's different in a way, but also within Europe and within Buenos Aires, it's very diverse in itself. So I cannot say everybody in Buenos Aires dances a certain way, everybody in Europe dances in this other way. But the main difference that I find is that I find in Europe, in general, people have uh, only one of two skills, and that means the elegance and the dance, or a great embrace. I find some people have an amazing embrace and they are not really dancing. I don't see like they really express something in their bodies. They don't have a certain motoric, um, let's say, I don't know. I want to say, yeah, let's say some kind of skill to. Okay. I'm talking about what we can call the style that we embrace and nothing else matters, or the style that we are dancing kind of like doing a show in an exhibition. And I found very often that people who I like a lot to dance, I prefer in a way to dance with the people who dance this style, the exhibition, because nowadays I'm in tango mostly for dancing, right? So I like to be able to push the floor, move in the space, do interesting movements. But I found that many people in this style, they don't have a nice embrace, in fact.
Okay.
So sometimes I really like to feel for 1 second this embrace, but I feel very limited in the options to move.
Yeah.
And basically, what I think in Buenos Aires, the people who I like to dance with, they have both. They have an amazing embrace and they dance, and this is what I think I want to see more. What I try to give to my students also, no, to have both the comfort in the embrace and the transmission of emotions through the embrace, and a great elegant move. Let's say it doesn't have to be impressive, but I like that it's elegant and that that you show that you care, that you make a choice to do it this way and not this way, and not just you do it because you cannot do it other ways. So by showing that you care, you're in constant development. You're always could do it a bit better. And I think that's something that is part of the tango tango dancing tradition, that you wanna find the best version of yourself, basically.
Yes.
So it's not only about enjoying a nice, comfortable embrace, because I mean, if I would only go there for physical pleasure, I might as well get a massage. I want that it's also dancing, and dancing tango specifically. So I like the urge to research, to look what the roots again of the tango tree were teaching us, and that's I use the vocabulary of tango, and because that's what I love. If you love to dance, then you can go out of the boundaries of tango and just dance, and then every movement would be, you could make it part of the dance. But if you try to dance tango, you're learning a language. If I cannot I cannot pretend to speak French if I'm using German words. So it's a part of liking tango as a style, or just liking dance in couple dancing as a style. So yeah, it's I think as a European, I mean, I kind of like grew up in exilium, something like that. And I know quite well the culture here, and I know that people really have this feeling that I think it's a human feeling, no? This vacuum, this emptiness that we were talking about, or which is very much present also always in the music lyrics, in the tango lyrics. So everybody can have the tango feeling. Some people say that the Europeans cannot have the tango feeling. I don't agree at all. I think it's a human feeling, the tango feeling. It's like the blues, no? It's like the fado. It's like the flamenco, and it's funny that it's always in places where there's a big port that this feeling arises, because it's where there's a lot of people who arrive and left something behind, which is in a way what tango is about. So yeah, this feeling is a human feeling, but there's I think something with the community in Europe. Maybe until now, I mean, I hope it will continue developing. But in most cities, you only have one or two good teachers, maximum three. So I mean, and you're lucky if so, like to have permanent teachers in the city. So you learn tango as their style. You think, tango is what they tell me that it is, right? And in Buenos Aires, there's so many people dancing good for already 100 years, I don't know. So because of that, you know that it's dancing tango has nothing to do with moving in this specific way, because you know that there's somebody who dances completely different, and he's also an amazing dancer. So in the dance, I think it's much more easy to find in Buenos Aires, to find the sensation of tango es un abrazo much more often, that people have adaptable embraces and not that it's a shape. But I'm sure people are teaching this in Europe, so again, this is a generalization, a big generalization. But to state quickly, I would say that's the main difference. I like to see more people in Europe who have both the dance and the embrace, and not just one of them. In Buenos Aires, there's people who only dance. There's people from a scenario who are amazing at that, but they cannot improvise with somebody that they don't know. It happens also in Argentina. So yeah, hopefully not. I mean, I think when everybody gets a good level of tango after 20 years or whatever, whether you started with a scenario or you started with a milonguero, petitero style, you will find your elegance, your comfort, and the feeling. So it's just a matter of time. If you stay in tango long enough, doesn't matter where you're from, I mean, you will find, if you really have the intention. Maybe through tango you discover something else. Some people, they go to tango and they discover they love to dance more than they love tango. Yeah. And they start dancing other styles. They create their own style, the new thing. They create a combination of tango and salsa and kizomba, or classical ballet, all kind of different influence, and everybody can create their own thing. And maybe they started because of tango. I think a lot of people are basically, there's a mix of people who are looking for social life through tango, and people who love dancing and they are frustrated in their life because the life went somewhere else, but they have this urge to dance. They would have been a dancer, And
Yeah.
tango opens the door for them. They say you can still be you are 60 years old, doesn't matter. You can learn to dance and you can be super beautiful and elegant. And that's this beautiful thing that tango can offer. And maybe this people doesn't even want to make friends in the milonga. They just want to learn how to dance, and then they have to find a teacher for that. I know people who take tango lessons for years and never went to a milonga. It's because they just love dancing. They don't love the social aspect.
Yes, because the social aspect can be a bit complicated sometimes. Like with everything that's human, we are always, like there's always going to be conflicts and weird
it's
things
intimidating,
happening, so
no? Yeah.
sometimes
I think it's a lack of confidence. If everybody was confident, well, maybe we will all be fighting. I don't know.
Yeah. So actually, what I love about doing these interviews is that it always gives me so many new perspectives I hadn't considered before, and it's also really much. Well, there's your dog.
Yeah.
Hello, dog. Yeah.
It's stealing some screen time.
So all these perspectives are like these people, like you people always make me think about tango in a different way, and especially today I feel that's very clear. Like I hear a lot of things that I hadn't considered before, and of course I'm not a dance teacher, so there's always going to be things I have no idea about, but still I can, as a normal dancer, I can still emphasize with some of the things you're saying and understand the logic behind it. So that's great. Maybe as let's see how much time. Yeah, let's combine two things, like this being a tango teacher. Well, we were in the previous point, we were already combining these things, but so you were talking about you are being this teacher and you see a difference or something lacking here that is maybe present in Buenos Aires, but I haven't heard you talk about connection with the music.
Mm-hmm.
So is there maybe I would say, like, that's my personal opinion, but I have the idea that it's harder for people here to really connect to the music than in Buenos Aires, even though in Buenos Aires it's also not necessarily like this really big thing, tango. Though you said there are people who know it from their youth and they know who Troilo is, but yeah, still people here have no idea who Troilo is unless they start dancing tango, which is a very strange niche thing that
yeah,
has
strange.
very little
How
people.
cannot know who Troilo is? Yeah.
Yeah. So, but is there something maybe as a teacher? Yeah, it's very hard to express what I want to say, but with the musicality, like
The appreciation of the music.
Yeah.
Well, I think part of musicality, it's not only the sounds that you hear, but the sensation, the emotion that you get from it, right? And that's, I think it can be a bit tricky when you only focus on the sounds. When I was studying music for films before, there was an expression that my teacher told me, which is sometimes you make the music and you make it we put the accent of the music exactly with the image of what's going on in the screen. No, that's called Mickey Mousing. Remember the Mickey Mouse cartoons of the 40s in black and white, that you see Mickey Mouse doing, he moves exactly on the music. And of course, the composing of music for film developed into creating a completely different layer of music that it's more telling the emotional weight of the moment rather than what's happening visually. So it creates a new layer that tells you about a different about the emotions, let's say. And I think that applies a lot to tango. I see a lot of people Mickey Mousing when they don't feel the meaning of a tango, no? But that doesn't. I'm not sure if I should say because of the lyrics, but maybe. I think it's important to know a bit what's important in a tango, but also music-wise, no? What of the different layers that sound have a priority in that moment, no? It's a matter of hierarchy within the sounds. If you're going to choose every sound, you're going to end up Mickey Mousing. So I think when you know the meaning of the message, both in the music and the poem, but you can be only in the music, you will find a different musicality. Has to do with that, with the feeling that tango is not supposed to be fun. For example, tango is enjoyable, it's super enjoyable, but I wouldn't say fun. I mean, maybe there are some funny tangos, but there are some, but it's not really what we're trying to express. It's not or at least what the composer was trying to express. So it really drives me crazy when I hear the guy singing that his girlfriend, he came back to town to meet again with his girlfriend, and he found her dead. And in the meantime, people are doing ganchos and boleos because the piano is doing this, So
yeah.
it's very, it's a big contrasting. So I think in that moment, of course, the piano is real, it's there. You can choose to do that, but I think it's not an informed choice. I think it's nicer. The more you discover tango, you go beyond the sounds and more into the emotions that it's transmitting.
Is that something you do as a teacher as well?
Well, yeah, I should make an advertising, but yes, this is in my workshop of musicality. I constantly talk about how can we even dance the lyrics of the music, or how can we use, for example, different metaphors and visualizations to find emotions in the music rather than to imitate what's happening in each sound. No, I think that's when I teach musicality, and I rarely speak about matching the bolero with the piano. No, it's not about that.
Yeah.
So this is, and it's interesting for me. It's also a challenge as a teacher to find ways to communicate sensations, and it becomes, I love the discussions with people when I ask them what they feel when I hear a certain song, and even if they don't know the lyrics, very often when they pay attention to that, they realize that they actually feel it anyways, because there's a connection between the music and the lyrics. And sometimes it's very interesting that the same sound can produce very different emotions for everybody. And when they find out what the lyrics are telling, they change their perspective completely, and that changed their dance. And normally it brings more pause in the
Okay.
dance,
Okay.
which I like. Yeah.
Well, that was another new perspective for me in a way, like the way you're creating this contrast between the general mood of the music and like that some people might be Mickey Mousing certain instruments
Right.
disconnected to so that's very interesting. Maybe as a like a last question, so specifically about the teaching, yeah, what can I ask about it? Maybe like or maybe let's make it more general. Like you are this teacher, and this is like your vocation, is like your thing. But then you still have the social dancing. I would say you're still dancing socially. I mean, right now it's all a bit complicated, but previously, I suppose you still go to milongas and do stuff like. I feel like, yeah, I feel like in you there's this unlimited desire to keep on going with tango, like it's your it really sounds like a dream life in a way. Yeah.
I hope tango is still there, because otherwise it feels quite, the empty will come back and I have to deal with it,
Yes, yeah, super.
No, I don't think I will get bored of tango, because tango offers really this is why I like activities like tango, that what we call the classics, no, that you can go over it over and over, and you still discover new things, you can still go deeper in it. And definitely tango is one of those things that it's an endless source of satisfaction and complexity and nuances. So yeah, I always enjoy dancing socially. I mean, that's why I'm doing the whole thing. The whole thing is just an excuse to be able to dance socially and stick around it without neglecting what I should be doing. So yeah, I really like to I think my biggest skill is that I like to take somebody I never danced with before, even if they are at the beginners level, and to have an amazing dance, for example. I think that's also really what makes tango what it is, that not that you get a professional dancer and you can like do amazing stuff, which is super fun to do. Normally when you do it, you end up laughing. But I also like to make someone discover my opinion of this song, how where we should walk, where we should wait, and I think that's actually what I like the most. To not to perform. I think I eventually I would like to perform. It's not something I dislike, but definitely what I'm myself is in the milonga. Yeah, this is what I would never be able to stop doing.
Yes.
I will be happy if my heart stops dancing tango.
Yeah, that has actually happened, right?
It has happened. Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
I've seen it.
You've even seen it.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
And I thought I won that.
Okay. Jeez. Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe just one last. I'm just making this up now, but improvising. But is there some like last message you want to give to people about tango? Like maybe something to help them, or
Well, it's difficult to say. I think in general, don't be intimidated because nobody knows anything about tango. So create your own truth about it, and but be eager to learn. You know, don't be lazy in creating your truth about tango.
okay.
Research, you know, find out more about it, and it's all about. There's no rules. The only rules are common sense. Just be kind to each other, be respectful to each other, and you will be able to enjoy your dance and share the enjoyment with your partner and with the other people around.
Well, that's a very good message. Well, Lucas, thank you for being here today. And of course, I'm recording this for the viewers, but I've really enjoyed, really
Thank you
enjoyed
for the
seeing.
invitation.
Yeah, especially I've really enjoyed the new perspectives you give me, and it's been very fun to see that you are. Like your path has been different than I expected, but that's just you always have assumptions about people. But it's yeah, it was a really cool story. I really feel like I'm learning here, and
Wow.
well, I guess
Great,
that's
thanks.
what you want as a teacher, right? You want to be you just want to
Yeah,
inspire
I'm
people,
always
right?
happy that yeah exactly. If you find something that you can be inspired with and do something yourself with that, even better, you know. But I think also it's great that you create this space for people to talk and tell their stories, and it's really good what you're doing. I think especially nowadays that we spend less time at the salon, it's good to keep reflecting about tango and take care of it.
Yes.
And
Well,
make the decision to dance and keep tango burning always in as a fire, the fire of tango burning.
well, that's amazing. Thank you, and well, see you another time. Hopefully, when things are a bit more normal again. But
Yes,
for now,
hopefully
thanks
soon.
thanks for the interview, and
Yeah, we'll speak soon, man.
yeah,
Bye bye.
bye.